Hi, this is Jash Sen, author of the Wordkeepers. Today I'll be reading out the second chapter from my book because if you've been to the website, you've probably read the prologue and chapter 1 as well. Chapter 2. Trust No One. Rushing straight to her bathroom, Anya shoved her hand into the jar of washing powder and fished out the necklace, unaware that she was holding her breath until she let it out in one big whoosh when the metal chain glinted dully on her palm. Then she bolted her door and sat down on her bed to think. She didn't know what to think. What on earth did Ma mean? Not even Daddy or me. A peculiar statement. The obvious thing to do was to call her on her mobile and to tell her about this silly message. The words trust no one kept hammering in her head. Trust no one. Well, she'd call Ma just the same, just to make sure everything was all right, and she wouldn't mention the note. She made up her mind and took out her mobile from her pocket. "Shall I connect you?" asked a suave voice. "Yes. Your most popular contacts are Rohan, Sharmili, Adil, Ma, and NetY Gaming. Do you wish me to connect you to any of these contacts?" Ma, just hurry up." "Connecting to Ma," said the voice, unperturbed and unemotional. "Yes, Anya, what is it?" "Quick, I'm in the middle of something," said her mother's voice at the other end, reassuringly normal and busy. "Just missing you, Mum. Just wanted to hear your voice." "Oh, sweetheart. Don't you worry. I'll be back on Wednesday. You've not forgotten anything, have you, Ma?" "What do you mean? Forgotten what?" A sixth sense warned Anya to keep quiet. Trust no one. "Nothing. It's just that you usually call saying you've left something or the other behind." Her mother's voice laughed at the other end, reassuring. "You know what I think? I think you really missed me and thought of an excuse to call. Now be nice to Daddy while I'm away. Many hugs. Love you." Click. "Call disconnected," said the voice again. Anya took a deep breath to calm herself. Well, that sounded all right, although it wasn't like Ma to lose something as precious as a wedding ring and not mention it to her. Neither did she talk about the necklace. She should have missed it by now. It didn't add up somehow. Well, perhaps people just started their dementia earlier these days, what with the insane work pressure and all. She never did understand how grown-ups' minds worked anyway. Maybe she should mention the amulet to Daddy. Just mention it and see what he said. In significantly better spirits, she trooped down the stairs to the living room, where her father was watching the Sunday sports roundup. She was determined not to worry for a while. Daddy was slumped on the sofa with a can of beer in his hand, watching the show with rapt attention. He loved his Sunday afternoon beer and TV. He used to be a sports person, but he was now reduced to enjoying it vicariously on the screen. Giant 3D images of cars were being projected on the wall opposite, the noise of their screeching tires reaching a deafening crescendo from time to time. Anya could smell the burning rubber. She wrinkled her nose and wished her father would turn down the smell. She sat down next to him, desperately wanting a cuddle, but feeling awkward to ask. Some things are just so much easier when you're a kid. Look at diapers. "Hello, sweetie," said her father absently, with that glazed look in his eyes that people get when they watch too much television. "Tennis is up next." Anya got up to grab a lemon drink from the fridge and settled down next to him, sitting cross-legged, her preferred posture. A glamorous anchor summed up the last segment, which was on racing, and after a commercial break, the tennis segment started. The anchor returned and talked about Leonardo Vidal's Grand Slam, the biggest news in tennis for a while. "Daddy, I want to ask you something," she began. Her father nodded, eyes still glued on the screen. A very talented player, very talented indeed. It was a pleasure to watch him in the final against Mankovic last week, he said. Anya stilled every muscle in her body. She stared hard at the screen, for something serious had just happened. Daddy hated Vidal's guts. He was an out-and-out Mankovic fan. Seriously, he was a bit strange about his tennis. He had spent most of last Sunday swearing loudly at the screen. Anya remembered perfectly because she had to come downstairs and ask him to keep the noise down, a rare moral victory for her. It was almost as bizarre as a person waking up with amnesia and saying, "Who am I?" More so, for Daddy was clearly in his senses otherwise. A horrible thought flashed through her mind. No, it couldn't be. That's impossible, she told herself firmly. It was a strange, compelling desire to know the truth that prompted her next move. Forcing her actions to remain normal, she playfully took her father's left hand in her own as she pretended to play with his fingers. It was Daddy's hand, all right. The same texture of skin, same sort of podgy fingers, same ring. The tennis set was at 40-40. Good. Looking straight at the screen, she casually pulled out her father's wedding band and tried it on her fingers, one by one. As always, it was a little bigger than her thumb. Her father smiled indulgently and ruffled her hair. She smiled back and put the ring back on his finger. She had seen what she had needed to. The inside surface of the wedding band spelt her father's name, Anuj. All was well. She sighed a big sigh and allowed herself another lemonade. She would talk to Daddy about the amulet. He would have a proper explanation. She looked at herself in the mirrored bar counter next to the fridge and preened a bit. She never did like her nose. Pushing it up with her middle finger, she checked the final effect. Better, much better. Should she colour her hair? It was not allowed in school, she knew, but just one red lock in front? She could easily hide it. Her eyes moved over her reflection, appraising the girl opposite. Something was not quite right. Why was she alone in the room? The TV was on. She turned round. Daddy was right there, watching TV. Her spine was suddenly a trickle of cold water. Very carefully, she pretended to hunt for the bottle opener, her eyes on the mirror. Still nothing. No other person, not even a shadow of one. Humans have reflections. They show up in mirrors. They cast shadows. They have to. Her mind raced. What was that thing pretending to be her father? Trust no one, trust no one, a manic voice in her head hummed.